This is the Chris Duel Show.
Your day destroys
Lots of echo.
90 lives a day. Try to hide. Break on to the other side. Break on to the other side. Break on to the other side.
Now, Chris Duel. You made it.
It's Friday. More than that, it's a football Friday. It is AFC and NFC championship weekend. Of course, those games are Sunday, but we can't hype them enough. We can't revel in them enough. Who will go to the Super Bowl? I believe it's Super Bowl 55. I lose track of my Super Bowls. See if Shannon knows. Chris Duel Show, along with Shannon Salty, meaning Shannon off the top of your head. Is this Super Bowl 55?
I think so. I'm not good with Roman numerals.
Yeah. After Super Bowl 25, then my Roman numerals got a little weird. But I could have sworn I saw Super Bowl 55. We'll look that up. We do our best. We'll figure it out. We got a lot to talk about this morning on the Chris Duel Show. And you are always welcome to join us. We love hearing from you, and you've got a lot of ways to participate in the show. If you're listening now, obviously you found us one way or another, either over the hallowed airwaves of AM 1300 The Zone out of Austin or Ticket 760 out of San Antonio. We also come in crystal clear on the iHeart Radio app, which you can access pretty much anywhere on your smartphone, on your smart device, on your smart speaker. I've got an Amazon Echo, which is the Alexa thing, and it sounds even better than it sounds on the radio. It sounds like we're AM, and it sounds like FM radio. It sounds really, really good on the iHeart Radio app. We're streaming live video, as we always do, on Ticket 760 and AM 1300 The Zone's Facebook pages. You can join us there. Lots of people jump in. There's always a lot of cool conversation, not only with us, but people talking amongst themselves. Some cool people that are often international. We got listeners, people participating in the show from Tokyo, Japan, and the Tokyo Olympics are in the news. Will they even happen? We'll get into that. We've got Ofa Lin joins us from Singapore. John Arne Paulson joins us from Norway. We got Brad George from Australia. People joining us from North Korea. Budi Montano joins us from the Philippines. It's crazy. See, Shannon, when I got into radio, the internet was in its infancy. So, I was on the radio in San Antonio. If we got a call from New Braunfels, it was like, wow, there's people listening to us in New Braunfels. What cool technology.
And now our show from San Antonio to Austin can be heard on regular old radio, and then thanks to the iHeart Radio app and this lovely video feed, we're international.
It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. Now, Shannon, tonight, and I'm sure we'll get into this, your beloved Dallas Mavericks in San Antonio to take on the team that you root against. How dare you? My beloved San Antonio Spurs, coached by one Gregory Charles Popovich, just barely my second favorite coach ever to walk the face of this earth. Barely, just a scotch. Is that a word it is now? Behind Thomas Wade Landry. Are you geeked up, Shannon, for Mavs Spurs tonight?
Mavs are favored by 3. I am taking it.
You're pretty cocky about this.
Taking it.
You've been cocky even before the Spurs got blown out by Golden State. You were very cocky that your Mavericks would have their way with the Spurs tonight.
It's easy to be cocky when you haven't played each other yet this season.
Well, it's such a weird. See, I've got a friend who lives in San Francisco, so he's a Golden State Warriors fan. So 2 nights ago, he's like, I'm getting all these texts. You suck. We're blowing you out. Spurs are the worst team we've played. I can't believe how much the Spurs suck. And then last night, Golden State goes and loses to the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
you never know. Spurs come into this one at 8-7, Mavs are 7-7. So at the moment, as we speak, Spurs are a half a game ahead of the Mavs. So we will see what happens tonight. Should be fun.
I'm very excited. Looking forward to it. And then, of course, because I'm not getting my Texas basketball fix tomorrow. So I'm going to have to ride whatever happens tonight all the way through Sunday. I hope I'm happy.
Yeah, no, what are we going to do for sports on Saturday? There's like nothing. Maybe there's some NBA. There's like nothing big on my radar that's going on. But that's fine because Sunday is it. NFC, AFC championship games. In fact, Shannon, we delve into prophecy. We ask our listeners and our viewers to peer into the future and tell us who is going to the Super Bowl. That would be our poll question this morning.
Yes, sir. Okay, yeah, we've got what two teams will be playing in the Super Bowl? Bills and Bucks, Bills and Packers, Chiefs and Bucks, and Chiefs and Packers. Currently, a lot of people going chalk here saying Chiefs and Packers. Not too far behind, though. Bills and Packers, followed by Chiefs and Bucks and Bills and Bucks. Not a lot of faith in the Bucks.
Wow.
Yeah, my head says chalk. My head says
Chiefs, Packers. But my heart, you know me, I'm pulling for Brady. I know it's weird. It's almost like if Jeremy Fouts went to Oklahoma State University, which he chose not to. We'll introduce Jeremy, our soundscape stylist, in just a moment. But I've gone, Shannon, I've gone over to the dark side. I'm pulling for the Brady man and Giselle.
Okay.
And
we'll allow it as he is a Buck now.
Well, it's not. Evil was the New England Patriots. Evil was Bill Belichick. Evil was Robert, I need my massage in Florida. And a little extra.
Well, how about Bill Belichick's longtime girlfriend on Instagram, a Patriots fan, upset that Tom Brady no longer on the team? She said, "Did you even see him play last weekend? He didn't even score. Excuse me. 3 touchdowns. I think he did score.
Yeah.
And won the game.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Patriots.
Bill Belichick's girlfriend.
She's since made that Instagram private.
It's
good on her.
Oh my God. People are amazing online. Wow. We'll get into that. Bad news for the Dallas Cowboys since we last convened, Shannon.
What does it end?
I'm really bummed out. Bad news for the Cowboys. As you know, Shannon, but our listeners may not know, Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys, was not hired away by the Philadelphia Eagles. That's just bad news for the Cowboys and Cowboys fans. I'm just saying. So, yeah. The Eagles hired somebody named Sirianni, Indianapolis Colts offensive coordinator.
These NFL hires are getting stranger and stranger.
Yeah, and another kick in
Especially
the
when
teeth.
we have Eric and just sitting there.
Yes. And even yesterday, I saw a story, Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator and bridesmaid passed over forever as an NFL head coach. Had to yes, I would like to be a head coach. I saw the headline on Yahoo Sports. Eric Bieniemy says he would like to be a head coach. Excuse me, yo.
Maybe there's a Pee Wee team out there that'll take them.
Wow. That is just
Maybe pro bono work, but
yeah.
head coach somewhere.
And again, and I wonder, we're still waiting to see if the dumpster fire that is the Houston Texans, if they're going to offer him a job. I wonder if by default he takes it. I was listening to Colin Cowherd yesterday in the mid-morning after our show, and he said, don't take it. He went through some examples. One of his was Mike Dunleavy, who was the head coach of the Bucs, and he did well. But he didn't win the title. This was many years ago. So he was blown out by the Bucs, and he took his next first job offer, which was by the owner at the time, Donald Sterling, and the LA Clippers. And that was a debacle, and he was never hired again as a head because people were like, oh, Mike Dunleavy, he sucks. So
would you take the Texans job if you were him?
Depends on it's a great. My first instinct is no, but secondly, just before recently, the Texans were always kind of in the playoffs, and you do have Deshaun Watson. And, I mean, it almost looks like Bill O'Brien is the guy who really screwed those things up. I think you'd have to get to know that general manager, get to know all the Calvin there. If you had a commitment, I think, and looked into their eyes and had a good feeling, but on the surface now, it looks like a mismanaged football team.
Yeah. But what a story it would be if he was the one to take that job and then turn that team around and get rid of all the nonsense that's been floating around there for so long.
I hope wherever he goes, and I hope he gets an opportunity, and I hope he kicks butt wherever he goes. I just hope that all these teams that asked him up, I hope he can say, you and you and you and you and you and you could have had me.
Could have had all it is.
Bastards. All right. In a moment, we will introduce our very friendly, prolific, and talented soundscape stylist, Jeremy Couch. First, we will ask him to fire up the contest. It is the Grand in Your Hand cash contest. Shannon and I do this twice in the morning at 6:20 and at 7:20 on the radio station. We do it throughout the day 12 times, all the way until 8:20 at night. Lots of chances for you to throw your name in the hat. Somebody's going to win it. Maybe it will be you. Here is your Grand in Your Hand cash contest.
You money. Your chance to win $1,000 is right now. Exclamation keyword. Grand 200. You'll get confirmation and inbox, standard data, and message rate apply in this nationwide contest. Once again, that's Grand 200.
Good luck. The Grand in Your Hand cash contest. So among other things that have happened in the world of sports, and we will get into all of it. By the way, you're welcome anytime you want to join us this morning. We love taking your phone calls. 800-707-9760, the phone number. 800-707-9760. If you want to react to anything you're hearing on air, you want to bring up anything in the world of sports, or really easy, whatever's on your mind. Talk about. As long as it's not ridiculous, as long as it's not overly offensive. If it's mildly offensive, we might be into it. We've got a couple of great guests this morning. On most Fridays, we're available. We just love talking football with Coach A, Paul Alexander, a football guru, a football philosopher, a football historian, dude has done it in broadcasting, television, and radio. He was a one-time play-by-play on TV for the Spurs. He's been a play-by-play guy for football, Canadian football. He was one-time back in the Fred Akers era in Austin. He was host of Fred Akers show for Marlon football. Anyway, dude lives, breathes, loves, and knows football. So talk AFC championship games with him. We will talk about coaching hires and non-hires Academy. And then at 8:30, my good friend, one of the only Texans on the board of the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. One is Jerry Jones. He's not our guest. This is so much guest. James Allen from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. His thoughts on the conference championship games. Maybe we get his thoughts on, we were talking about earlier in the week, Shannon. Pretty much the consensus is, you're not a Hall of Famer. It's like either the vision test or the smell test. It's like Joe Montana, that's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Roger Staubach, those are Hall of Fame quarterbacks. And I think his point was, the lower you set the bar, in other words, if you put Philip Rivers into the Football Hall of Fame, that is in a certain sense diminishing the greatness and the exclusivity of a Joe Montana or a Terry Bradshaw or one of the great Hall of Fame quarterbacks. You agree with that, Shannon?
I think so. That's kind of a really mean way to put it, though. But what's the first thing you think of when you hear the name of Philip Rivers? Because I think 9 kids and Chris, like that's the biggest achievement was that he got through 17 seasons in the NFL without saying a single curse word.
Well, and I also think playoff utility. I think that's never been promised. And he's a Hall of Famer too. Two guys Dan Marino was rookie of the Dolphins won the Super Bowl and lost to the 49ers big. And I remember. Marino's a lot. It's like when I hear Mahomes win 6, 7 Super Bowls. Well, you never know. Because I heard that about Dan Marino. As a rookie, he lit the league on fire to the Super Bowl. He never came back to the Super Bowl. Then there was Dan Fouts of the San Diego Chargers. That's like Dan Fouts. 25 minutes into the show. What is wrong with me? Can we introduce the pride of Oklahoma Christian University? Someday there will be a statue in front of that university. And turned down a scholarship to Oklahoma Satanic University. And we're so glad he did. You got to drink ghost blood and carve a pentagram in the palm of your hand and tattoo 666 on your scalp. Jeremy Fouts, good morning. What's up, sir?
Good morning. Can you guys hear me okay?
I hear you okay.
Sound lovely.
Excellent. Shout out to our crack engineering team on crack.
Yes.
They got me set up with a cool new webcam set up over here.
Yeah, there's a webcam in the studio that wasn't here at the beginning of the week, Shannon. It doesn't work yet. So maybe they're working on it. Yeah. Because if you're following us on Facebook Live, we had mainly audio echo problems that the crack engineering says that we're on, but that hasn't happened yet.
Could just be doing crack.
Yeah. And now, Jeremy, I don't know if you've joined us since last week you and I tied in our football NFL predictions. We all had 3 different sets of update or outcomes, and you were 3-1 percentage, 750, 75%, as was Shannon, as was I. So we're all tied up now this weekend.
Great. I will take it all. I have no doubt. So, sorry, guys.
Very confident.
And Jeremy has a very interesting way of determining the winner.
Yes. Yes. I don't think I've ever heard such reasoning behind a picture before.
Hey,
whatever works.
And depending on what he says, like in first place, say in your face to both of them. All right. So join us on the phone line care, if you please. 800-707-9760. Join us on Facebook Live. You want to see the beautiful scene, technically flawed video feed. Maybe it's better this morning. Maybe it worked on it. Tickets 16 a.m. 1300 The Zones. Facebook page, you can see it, you can interact with us. You can tweet us. Tweet Shannon at Shannon B. Sweeney. Tweet Jeremy at S.H. Foxy Grandpa. Tweet me at Chris Duel. I got a boring Twitter. It's just me. All right. Little police there. Thank you. Sting. Gordon Sumner. Loves me some Sting. All right. Tokyo Olympics in Notre Dame. On probation. I believe that's a sin. Wayne Haskins has a new place to play football. Lots to talk about. We're with you till 9 o'clock this morning. Thanks for hanging out. You're listening to the Chris Duel Show. Let's see. Man, I am just so behind this morning. I had to record some commercials, and then I had all kinds of internet problems, and now I'm having even further problems. What is going on there? Okay. There's the feed. Jason Garcia, Sam Tobias, Luisa Alanis, welcome in, everybody. John Williams, Alan Green, Bernard Trefan, Laura Burris, Yvonne Yancey McGowan, Clint Proctor, Hector Gomez, the pride of Central Catholic High School, Anthony Del Toro, Wes Perkins,
Alan Green, Jesse Martinez. Jesse Martinez with a celebrity death watch update. Mike Taylor does his celebrity death challenge. And I believe he had Tommy Lasorda in that, so he has done well with that. Okay. I'm Rodriguez, welcome. Okay, now what was that? Just for reason my computer. I am having so many weird technical issues the last couple of days. There was a movie once called Koyaanisqatsi. Koyaanisqatsi. It's a great movie, by the way. It's a documentary. Koyaanisqatsi is a Hopi Indian term meaning life out of balance. I believe my life is currently out of balance, at least technologically. Okay, now there's all these people I need to send I got to send those commercials to. So I need to write down their see, Jennifer Quintanero. Oh, Quintero. Easy for me to say. Thank you. If anybody can butcher a name, it is me. All right, now I'm going to try to forward these. All right. Fun. Till my daddy T-Bird away. See, Jason, I don't know who Dustin Diamond is. I am apparently terminally unhip because I don't know who that is. Is that a wrestler? Is that a rocker? Shannon, I don't know if you're listening, but I'm sending out these spots to Robin Reed and Jennifer Quintero and Melody Caldwell, and I'm just going to put your name on this in case I get a mass reply. So, okay. So anyway, here You're getting them again, but Robin and Jennifer and Melody are on the. Nothing like doing radio Yvonne says, we need IT, stat. Exactly, Yvonne. Steve Duraco is in here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans, countrymen. The man I have known since 3rd grade. Steve Duraco. He knows all my deep, dark secrets. He knows where all the bodies are buried. He is the co-founder of the San Antonio Polar Bear Club. He's the original Rock and the original Italian Stallion. Steve Duraco. You know him, you love him, you can't get enough of him. What is up, Rock? Jason Garcia says, Shannon, what does your t-shirt read? I don't know what Shannon's t-shirt says, but I can tell you what mine says. Playoffs? 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 Talk about playoffs? Wow. Oh, yeah. Extra salty. Very nice. Very nice. Shannon, we need a salt sponsor. We need like Morton salt or some kind of special sea salt. All right. Woo! Woo! See, Jason, ask and you shall receive. Customer service. Okay, Shannon, I'm seeing the Dan Campbell thing. Do you have that Dan Campbell audio ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. We'll do that here. Thank you, Sam Tobias. Sam's an HEB guy, so he knows all the products by full name. Yeah, Shannon, I will ask you about the Dan Campbell thing. That way you can kind of introduce it a little bit here. And then that might get us into the ripping off of Tom Herman's, not Tom Herman. I'm a coach behind Steve Sarkisian's catchphrase. Here we come. I guess I better lower my.
Football
Friday.
Feel the glory. Feel the greatness. Feel the love. Feel the bliss. And remember this. All glory, all bliss is fleeting. Because while we were in the NFC and AFC championship games on Sunday at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin, at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri, And first of all, we'll get into the iconic stadiums. Those stadiums have been here forever. It's not like it's like SoFi Stadium, a new stadium, man. Those stadiums have been around forever. They're freaking iconic. But you think about it, we've only got 3 games left in this beloved football season. Shannon, I mean, I don't want to be down there, but enjoy every second of football because we got only 3 games left.
It's so bittersweet because these are the games that everyone is excited for at the beginning of the season, but we get down to it and we're slowly counting down the days until we're back in off season, just waiting for another football season. My life is there's football season and then there's the rest of the year.
Amen. And I always. And I'm a Spurs freak, so that's helped me a little bit. But even I love the Spurs and NBA basketball. It's still NFL football. It's like, to me, it's the gold standard. And I understand what you're saying. It's football season, and there's the rest of it. But I've always felt, for me, when the Spurs season ends, until like football training preseason in the NFL, it's the dark ages. Even though it's summertime, and there's baseball, you can go outside, but it's the dark ages of sports for me.
You brought it up earlier, the Olympics. I was so sad that we didn't get it last year because the Summer Olympics are like the perfect segue from that dry, nothing summer to the beginning of NFL preseason. They were pushed to this summer, and they're already saying that it looks like it's not going to happen, which I'm sad for the world because I know it's a world event that everyone enjoys tuning into. I'm super sad for those athletes who prepared their entire life for this moment, had it pushed back a year, kept preparing, and it's just fallen through.
Yeah, and it's not official, but it's not looking good. I mean, there are officials in Tokyo saying, hey, man, we're still going to do everything we can to have it. But one of the big official Tokyo Olympic organizers did say yesterday, and this was kind of foreboding, there is a plan B.
Right.
If they're canceled, they're canceled.
What a loss for them. I mean, all the money to make all of the arenas, stadiums, and get everything ready, and the compound where all the athletes stay. And, that's why originally they were like, we can push it a year. We'll still be able to pull this off. Just so unfortunate. And now they're hoping that they can get the 2032 bid should they not do the Olympics this summer so that, all that money doesn't go to waste. But that's the next available slot.
And Shannon, you said, you're sorry for all the athletes who prepared all of their lives for this opportunity. And absolutely, I get it. I, again, as a Spurs fan and as a huge fan of Greg Popovich, who was, and hopefully still somehow it happens, coach the U.S. Olympic team in Tokyo in the Olympics. Part of his story, a lot of people thought this is why he will ride off into the sunset. Ideally, after winning an Olympic gold as head coach, and I know the coach did not win the gold, but Pop was cut. He was on the final cut by Bobby Knight for the U.S. Olympic basketball team in 1972. That U.S. team eventually lost to Russia. Pop was at the tryouts. Apparently, Pop, as a player coming out of the Air Force Academy, wanted desperately to be an Olympian and didn't make it. He was cut. And it was going to be just kind of cool, poetic justice and bookends to his basketball career from not being an Olympian on that basketball team to being the coach in Tokyo. That's part of what I'm looking forward to. I wanted to see that dude at age, he'll be 72 this summer, win the darn Olympic gold, leading USA to that gold in Tokyo. That was very, very much up to you right now.
And the Olympics are great because you get to watch sports that you don't typically, tune into. Like swimming is such a huge thing, track is such a huge thing. But basketball in the Summer Olympics, even though we just finished the regular season and the playoffs, when you have this super team of the U.S. players and then them playing against some other countries that have sprinkles of NBA players, it's so incredible to watch. And for Pop, I think, is the perfect guy to kind of handle. We talk about the big three right now. How do you handle all of those, giant personas? Well, just think about those Olympic rosters.
Yeah.
That's something unworldly, yet U.S. still dominates year in, year out. When they don't, That is a major story.
So keep an eye on it. There's some kind of a break in coronavirus such that the only thing might happen. If I had that right now, it ain't good. All right, yesterday. I'm wearing a shirt that says playoffs today. By the way, you've got a great t-shirt. The people, and you showed it to everybody on Facebook Live, which again is why you should join us on Facebook Live. You see things you might not otherwise see. In fact, somebody said, "Hey, what's that t-shirt Shannon's wearing?" Oh, then Shannon just pointed the camera at her t-shirt. For the radio audience, describe your t-shirt.
It's just a blue shirt with the words "extra salty" on it. My aunt is a huge fan of the salty thing, so I have tons of shirts and swag that just say salty.
So you need to create your own apparel so you can really cash. And B, we need like a sponsor for the show.
Do you think we have any 80s listening?
I hope so. I just sent an email to Robin. Get on that. Like
opportunity.
Some like margarita salt. You could be like sipping on a margarita.
You don't know what's coming with margaritas.
You gotta just manufacture your own.
I don't know.
Shannon,
that sounds so really hard. But okay.
You don't need to work your name on it. We find somebody who's we'll find somebody in the salt in Bulgaria to get the salt.
I mean, speaking of COVID, like Halloween was basically canceled this last year, and I had the perfect. I had the entire Morton's girl outfit.
Oh, perfect!
Ready to roll.
Damn it!
Damn you, COVID.
And I don't even do Halloween, but I was like, how funny would that be?
Hell yeah, for that you do it. All right. Halloween 2021, baby. It's going to happen. So my shirt is playoffs, which of course is from a famous NFL head coaching press conference. We've had great NFL head coach press conferences over the years, including they are who we were. I mean, you've got great moments in NFL press conferences. And Shannon, it was an introductory press conference yesterday in Detroit, and I have a feeling sound bites were created and they last forever.
Yeah, Mr. Dan Campbell, the new head coach of the Detroit Lions, spoke yesterday. For all you Texas A&M fans, I hope you're proud. He's an alum from that school. Most recently, he was with Sean Payton from 2016 to 2020, serving as his assistant head coach and tight ends coach. And then prior to that was in Miami for the 2015 season, where he served as interim head coach. So that's the closest he's ever been to being a coach. By the way, they went 6-10 that season. Yesterday, he had an interesting take on what his team should do if they get knocked down.
This place has been kicked, it's been battered, it's been bruised, and I can sit up here and give you coach speak all day long. I can give you, hey, we're going to win this weekend. I can't. None of that matters, and you guys don't hear it anyway. You've had enough of it. So, excuse my language. All right? Here's what I do know, is that this team is going to take on the identity of the city. All right? And the city's just been down and found a way to go. All right, it's found a way to overcome adversity. All right, so this team's going to keep going on. We're going to kick it in the teeth. All right, and when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off. All right, and we're going to stand up, and it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. All right, and on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap, and we're going to get up, and it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to do another hunk out of it. Before long, we're the last 2 standings. All right, that's going to be relevant.
Only have 2 kneecaps.
Wow.
So you got to find somewhere else after that third one.
Yeah, you got to find something else to fight. Which is a little frightening.
He's sitting there. He's like, we're not going to get knocked down, but if we get knocked down,
yeah.
The first time we'll do this. The second time we'll do this. The third time, I thought we weren't going to get knocked down. Now we're getting knocked down 3 times.
I admit, and I'm a little freaky. By the way, you can probably had to edit that for radio because there's this thing called the FCC and they frown upon some language. I still kind of like it, Shannon. I prefer somebody who is who he is, or is who she is, as opposed to just your typical. That's what drove me crazy about Jason Garrett. Well, after every loss, we're going to go back and look at the film, and we're going to clean it up. We got some things to clean up. We're going to. It's like, dude, get angry, get ticked off, throw something, show some. That was a weird introductory press conference. Maybe not the metaphors that I would have chosen, but A, you be you, and B, entertain me, because C, ultimately, I do believe sports is entertainment.
He said he wasn't going to give us coaching. He certainly didn't fail in that regard. I just think it's curious. Again, he's the Lions head coach. They've really struggled, specifically in that head coaching position. And this guy's track record, I mean, it's not easy to coach. He's just never done it before. I don't know what about him says, I will take you to the promised land. And then after this presser, go to Lions Twitter page, and they posted his official office signage, and it says, Dan Campbell / the dude. So apparently he has the dude persona. So I don't know if he's a fan of White Russians, but I don't know if I'm a Lions fan. I don't know how I feel about this. I may like the guy, but I don't know that I like the coach.
Interesting. Well, and again, we talk about the Buffalo Bills of the last 4 teams standing, and they, as a long-suffering franchise and a long-suffering fan base, at least they did have 4 consecutive trips to the Super Bowl with Jim Kelly and Marv Levy. Man, that that Detroit Lions team, they never sniffed the Super Bowl. And they rarely lost. And God, they need something. So
they now have the attention that they don't always get, because they are so bad. They have people's attention.
And again, you got Matthew Stafford. Over the years, you've had some offensive tools like Megatron, and certainly
he left because they were so bad.
Yeah.
He didn't just leave and go to another team. He was like, I'm done.
He was at the top of the game. And he went on to Dance with the Stars. He was pretty good on Dancing with the Stars, as I recall. But the Detroit Lions. And again, with all those notable offensive players over the years, Eric, the enemy, offensive coordinator, Kansas City Chiefs, maybe Emma Smith. And I think there was that story a few weeks ago that every team looking for a head coach other than the Houston Texans had interviewed Eric the enemy. Since then, the Texans have. So I'm guessing now the ownership of the Detroit Lions deliberated and get Dan Campbell, Eric the enemy. Dan Campbell, he has coaching experience. Dan Campbell. Yeah, we'll take him. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the dude persona swayed them. Although if you've ever seen that movie, you know that the dude isn't the most likable guy to begin with. So I don't really understand.
And it's good as senator.
Right.
So
he's always in a robe.
And
again, I don't know who's going to be on Hard Knocks yet, but now I'm hoping it's the Detroit Lions. He may have just secured that for them.
You know what? If you're Hard Knocks at a press conference going,
more of that, please.
Yeah. Good call. All right. Speaking of football, coming up, we love this guy. We're going to talk football. We're going to talk Paul Alexander, a football historian, a football guru. Football is his religion. I don't know if you say that, but knowing him, I say it's. Maybe it's like God he believes in, and secondly, close second is football. And I think that football illustrates that there is a God who loves us and smiles upon us and showers blessings upon us because it is football. It's just a theory. Quick break. Jeremy Fowler, Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, you've got the t-shirt to prove it. We're with you till 9. Thanks for hanging out. It's the Chris Duel Show.
Who's gonna drive you home?
Woo! I think I'm gonna get coffee. Yeah, I need coffee. Woo! Playoffs. I'll be back in about 90 seconds. John McGee, Jesse Bratton, good morning. Yo, 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 what is up? Woo! Woo! Right back. John, welcome to the Echo, John, but there's a new camera in here that is not connected. Let me see. Do I see it? Can't even tell where the wire goes. Ah, okay. It's not connected to anything. So maybe they're thinking about it. We were correct on the 55th Super Bowl. Jason Garcia, we need to get the voice of the Texans on the phone line. Yeah, Mark Vandermeer is standing by whenever there's like a Texans development. You know, whenever they do hire a coach, whatever they do. Now there's just, if there's a move on Deshaun Watson, if they either make him happy or if they trade him, God help them. You know, I'm uploading like today's show photo. Can't really see that well. I'm uploading that to Instagram, my Instagram story, if I have time. I might have time if I hurry.
Yeah, like 5 minutes.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Jeremy, what is your Instagram handle? I'm going to tag you on this.
It should be at President Dinosaur 115.
President? As in President? President Dinosaur 115?
Yes, sir.
President Dinosaur 115.
Should be.
No result found. At President Dinosaur 115.
Look real quick. It's some variation of that.
All right. I try. This is great video. Me uploading a president. Okay, I saw the message, then it went away.
Oh,
So what was it? At President Dinosaur 115?
yeah, I guess so. That's
Okay.
what it says my name is on.
All right, I do that. I try to tag you, and it says no result found. I'll try one more time.
Weird.
Found it.
Awesome.
Now I need some kind of. And I need music. is Friday's music. Jared. All right. John says, go Packers, go Bucks, go Bills. I don't want the Steph Curry of football to win again. Wow, you call
This is the Chris Duel Show.
You know the day destroys the night. Night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide. Break on to the other side. Break on to the other side. Break on to the other side.
Now, Chris Duel.
Glory, glory, hallelujah. The football gods on high, of which one, and one of the prime football gods, is Thomas Wade Landry, a man who was once a man, but was more than a man. He became the greatest head football coach to ever walk the face of this earth. And in February of the year 2000, he ascended into football heaven, where now he looks down upon us and showers us with football blessings. Although I think he still maybe has some issues with the Cowboys, because ever since Tom Landry passed away, the Cowboys last Super Bowl in '95, Landry passes away in the year 2000. Cowboys have never been back to the Super Bowl. I don't know, man. Maybe he and Texas E. Schramm has some issues with one Jera Jones. Let's talk. By the way, it's the Chris Duel Show if you're just tuning in. Chris Duel along with Shannon Salty Sweeney. She's got a t-shirt to prove it. We're streaming live video on Ticket 760 and AM 1300 The Zones. Facebook pages. Jeremy Fowler is your soundscape stylist. One of our favorite segments, and we do it every week whenever we can grab and whenever he's available. And we've been doing it most Fridays at this time, is to talk football with football guru, football historian, football analyst, Renaissance man, philosopher, and guy who's done everything in television, radio, broadcasting, news, sports, and entertainment. We welcome in the lovely and talented Paul Alexander. Coach A, welcome back.
Oh, we made it to Friday, and we got some football to talk about. Life is good. How are you?
It is good. And Paul, I was telling Shannon earlier, and you often reminded me of this. It's kind of bittersweet. On one level, my God, Sunday is going to be just glorious at two iconic stadiums, Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. But as you've often pointed out to me, in the month of January, this bliss is fleeting. We've only got 3 NFL football games left this season.
Yeah, I'm going to date myself, but this is giving me the heebie-jeebies. And, you know, you have to be of a certain vintage to even get the heebie-jeebies. But this is giving me the heebie-jeebies. In particular, I don't care at any level. You can't find a football game tomorrow. That's creeping me out.
No, that's true. And we were talking about that. And our consolation had been, Paul, Texas Longhorn basketball. But they're like out for 2 weeks because every opponent they want to play is unavailable for COVID-19 concerns. I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow.
I may have to talk to my wife.
And you're a huge, and people who follow you on Facebook, which I highly recommend, see some video evidence of this. You're a huge barbecue guy. Now, with Sunday coming, are you waiting to display your barbecue prowess on Sunday, or do you do some pre-barbecuing on Saturday?
Well, we keep something hot, like all weekend long. And I'm kind of cornered this week. I like to do two different things. I grill, but I also slow barbecue. And my excuse sometimes for not slow barbecuing is I'm working all the time. I don't have. Okay, I've got some time this weekend. So if my wonderful wife Jo puts some pressure on me to do a brisket or some ribs or something like that, I really don't have an excuse. I mean, right now I'm thinking to start with baby steps with some hot dogs tomorrow at lunch. But you know what? When duty calls, you got to come through.
Absolutely. Ball talk with Paul Alexander, and let's move into football. Paul, 2 games. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Green Bay Packers, and the Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs. Is either one of these more intriguing to you, or are they equal on the interest level for you?
Oh, very equal. Matter of fact, they're both making my head hurt. And inevitably this will come down to my having to make some picks here. And I'll remind you that I just stunk out loud 2 weeks ago. On the other hand, I was 4-0 last week. So in any picks that I make here, of course I acknowledge I could be wrong. But the one thing I'll tell you is I will make my picks based on something as opposed to pin the tail on the donkey.
And congratulations on going 4-0. Shannon went 3-1. I went 3-1. Jeremy went 3-1. So, you're a little down on yourself for the wild card round. Pretty darn impressive to go 4-0 in the divisional round.
I was ashamed. I had to throw one first down completion. I was ashamed. I had my football prognosticator tail between my legs.
Well, and it's interesting, Paul, you find both of these games equally interesting, as do I. And I must admit, as an old guy, I've been following Tom Brady this year. I'm fascinated by the level he's able to continue to play at age 43. But I'm kind of, we've done a lot of polling this week, and our listeners and our viewers, seem to be a little more interested in Kansas City versus Buffalo. And I'm surprised at how many people out there are rooting for the Buffalo Bills on Sunday.
They've become quite the story. They really have. And I'm as captivated by it as anybody. I will say I love the National Football League so much, and I've been so blessed and so fortunate to see games all over the country, at virtually every stadium, at virtually every NFL city. And there's just not a more endearing place than Buffalo. Those fans are wonderful. And when I say wonderful, they're so ardent, they're so faithful, but they're not nasty. I have been in some where I was a neutral observer. I would wear it here. And, I'm a reasonably large individual. There were times when I was fearing for my safety. In Buffalo, the only thing you have to worry about is a guy you never met buying you too much beer. I love the Buffalo Bills fans. They're wonderful. They're pure. And they waited so long, and they have a really good team. On the other hand, that team they're playing, they're not bad either.
Now, Paul, prior to joining us this morning, Chris and I were talking about some of the new head coaching hires in the NFL. Eric, not yet one of them, but the Lions have hired Dan Campbell, who is apparently going by the dude who had quite the press yesterday talking about taking out kneecaps. Is he the guy that's finally going to turn the awful Detroit Lions around, or is this just another guy with a personality who's been here for shock and awe? And we'll see a new guy in there in a couple of years.
He better make friends with Matthew Stafford. That's the first thing I do. Because if you lose Stafford, you abandon all hope. I will say that players like that stuff. I mean, when a guy comes in like that, and he got a sense of humor, but he's kind of foaming at the mouth, and he's talking about biting kneecaps and stuff. Players don't like that. Now, the thing I find a little surprising is, that Robert, the Niners defensive coordinator, went to the Jets. I'm surprised only because he's a Detroit native and has all kinds of support in Detroit, and was certainly their fan base's number one source. So we'll kind of see how that works out. And, some of these other head coaching moves, hires that we've seen over the last couple of days, you really don't know. You know about these people as coordinators, but as I've maintained for a long time, the skill set need, as even an excellent coordinator, is not the same skill set you necessarily need to be a head coach. You hope they have both of them, and we'll see how it shakes out. But it is nice in my mind to see new blood here.
He is Coach A. Paul Alexander talking football with us on the Chris Duel show. Paul, when we're talking about coordinators and all of these new hires, everybody saying what up with Eric Bieniemy. Seemingly, before this round of coaching hires happened late in the season, throughout the season, dating back to last season, one of the sexy picks, at least among reporters and football analysts, was Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. Some people citing race as one of the issues keeping him from getting hired. What do you make of this? Why do you think nobody's hiring Eric Bieniemy?
I don't know, because that guy has a pristine reputation and obviously has done a wonderful job. I don't know if this makes any difference, and this is not a knock. Now, Bieniemy is the offensive coordinator there, but he is not the play caller. And there's a reason for that, because play caller there is like his boss, and he's like the best play caller I don't know ever. I am a huge Bieniemy fan that goes back to his playing days in college at Colorado. Like you, I'm shocked that he hasn't already secured a head coaching position. The fact that his team is in the championship round kind of delays that a little bit. Now, the obvious connection you make here is that maybe the Texans make a run at it, the last gasp effort to keep Deshaun Watson happy. And how in the world did you blow that? You had one job, and it looks like you've kicked him off beyond authorized repair. I am a Bieniemy fan, and I hope he gets it one.
Now, Paul, you mentioned the Texans. It was announced last night that Alabama is taking on Bill O'Brien as their new OC. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think he can be successful under the Saban tree and maybe find his way back into the NFL should he perform?
Short answer is yes. I'm a big fan of Billy O's as a human being. I really am. On the other hand, I just cannot defend him in any way to some of the moves that he made with the Texans. There's a big personality difference on that Alabama staff now between Sarkisian and Billy O coming in. Can he be successful? Yeah. I mean, you got a five-star guy at every offensive position. You can certainly be successful. I don't know. In fact, I know he's not going to be as bold as Sarkisian was, because Sarkisian is like the embodiment of bold. But, we talk about Nick Saban a lot, and we kind of view him as a hard guy, and a little crusty and stuff like that. This guy clearly has a soul. I mean, look at the human kindness that he has extended to people and the second chances that he has given them. I used to be a little bit skeptic about Saban myself, and then I heard something one morning. Remember several years ago when, unfortunately, the champ, the greatest, Muhammad Ali, died? Well, the following morning, and it's just hours after his death, I'm listening to national radio, and they have all kinds of luminaries coming on, paying tribute to Muhammad Ali, and finally they had Nick Saban on. And I'm going, that's a little unusual. And for the next 10 minutes, Nick Saban waxed more eloquently about Muhammad Ali and what he meant and his place in history, and his place in this country, and his place in society. From that moment on, I have viewed Nick Saban in an entirely different light.
As well as so many former coaches who go to the school of Nick Saban and then end up going off to get jobs elsewhere. One guy in the news today who has served as an assistant to Alabama after he hired Oklahoma, former defensive coordinator Mike Stoops, reported now that he had Texas to be the linebackers coach. Now, remember, he was fired from Oklahoma in 2018 after that Red River shootout where Texas won. Great images of Sam Ellinger and the red zone raising up the horns. Your thoughts on Mike Stoops?
Contest after this.
He knows what he's doing. He also is an excellent recruiter. I'm sure that he is an excellent linebackers coach. If that's the way Sark wants to go, I'm for it.
Yeah, and what a flip from longtime Oklahoma Sooners head coach to maybe wearing that burnt orange on the sideline. More coming up with Coach A. Paul Alexander, but I'm going to take a quick break right now to give you a chance to win some cash. It's the Grand in Your Hand cash contest. We do it at 6:20 and right about 7:20 every morning. Done on this radio station 12 times throughout the day until 8:20 tonight, so keep listening. But here's your chance right now.
Let us give you money. Your chance to win $1,000 is right now. Text the nationwide keyword HOPE to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. Once again, that's HOPE to 200-200. Good luck.
Good luck. That is something the Houston Texans have not had lately as we talk football with Coach A, Paul Alexander. And Paul, before we dive into the NFC Championship game and the AFC Championship game from your perspective, we've mentioned the Houston Texans and Eric Bieniemy. Shannon was asking me earlier in the show, if you are Eric Bieniemy, and we'll ask you this now, Paul, he wants the head coaching job. Everybody else has passed him up. The Houston Texans look like a dysfunctional dumpster fire. If the Texans come calling and, he kind of feels like he's like an afterthought, but he wants a head coaching gig, if you're Eric Bieniemy, do you take that Houston Texans job if they offer it to you?
Chris, what a wonderful question, because sometimes I think we forget this. We think that you have to be so desperate to become a head coach that you got to jump at the first shiny thing that somebody shakes in your face, and you don't. And, if you're looking at your career and your chances to succeed, Bieniemy's in a position where he can be selective. And we don't know what's happened behind the scenes here. We don't know if he's been offered jobs before. But it's important not just to get a job, it's important to get the right job. And I don't know, when you run this through your onboard computer above your shoulders, you may not view that as a real good job right now. And in the meantime, there are worse things than the job you have right now.
True. Yeah. And by all accounts, you look at that Kansas City Chiefs offense, he's going to continue to be a hot commodity. All right, Paul, let's talk about what really matters, and that is Sunday in the National Football League. The early game will be the NFC Championship game at Lambeau Field. That's a 2:05 kickoff. Your late game at 5:40 will be AFC Bills at Chiefs. Let's start with the early game, Packers at Lambeau. Kind of we had this last week with Breeze versus Brady, another matchup for the ages at quarterback. Aaron Rodgers in his house versus Tom Brady. How do you see this game playing out?
I acknowledge that I may be about to take a cream pie in the face, but I'm taking the Bucs.
Wow!
And there's a reason for this. Now, I know this can be a little bit dangerous because we talk about previous meetings. Well, only, last week, you harken back to the fact that the Saints had not only beaten the Bucs twice, they had pounded them twice. And then the Bucs come back and win when it matters. So I realize I'm a little thin ice here. But Chris and Shannon, I cannot get the image of that Week 6 matchup between the Bucs and Packers out of my mind, because the Bucs intimidated the Packers. The Packers' knees were knocking. I remember that game so clearly. Aaron Rodgers comes out, and it's like he's in a shooting gallery. He is so hot, he can't miss. They're up 10-0, and you think they may just absolutely stomp them. And they didn't drink another drop for the rest of the day. And then something happened I've seen before. I harken back to last year's NFC Championship game, the Packers against the 49ers. The 49ers stole their manhood. I have very seldom seen a team have their knees knocked in the NFL, and they quit in that game. Here's my image from the Week 6 game. They quit in that game, and they got intimidated, and they got shoved around, and they got physically abused. I know things can change, and I know there's an argument, hey, they're going to be playing at Lambeau, frozen. Yeah. Okay, first of all, that ain't going to bother Brady. But beyond that, I remember this very clearly. It was much colder in Green Bay than it's going to be Sunday. But remember a few years ago when the Giants went to Lambeau and just took a trash shoe stomping to the Packers?
Yep.
I don't think that weather thing is that big a deal. I think it's all going to be about physicality. I do not trust the Packers defense. I know statistically they've been better. I know they're on a roll right now. I absolutely believe that Aaron Rodgers is not only the MVP, all things considered, and we'll wait and see what happens with Mahomes' career. But all things considered, Aaron Rodgers is the most talented NFL quarterback I have ever seen in my lifetime. So you got to figure that in. But I think the Bucs are going to win the football game, and in the process, they will then qualify to become the first team to ever play a Super Bowl in their home stadium. Now, the 49ers did play in San Francisco or the Bay Area back in Super Bowl 19 against the Dolphins, but that was at Stanford Stadium, not Kansas State.
Good point. I brought up that Super Bowl earlier. I was talking about Dan Marino's rookie year. So Paul Alexander picking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the early game. All right, Paul, let's go to the afternoon on Sunday. Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri. That game on CBS. So we get us some Tony Romo and Jim Nantz doing the call. Kind of the sentimental favorite across America. At least people listening to this show love the Buffalo Bills. Shannon takes personal responsibility and credit for the career of the starting center for the Buffalo Bills against the Kansas City Chiefs. What do you see happening here, Paul?
Well, first of all, let's get this straight. The Chiefs are very lovable as well. In fact, I mean, who doesn't love Andy? I mean, you have to be you have to be a mess to not love Andy. So I'm not taking any emotion or affection or respect away from the Kansas City Chiefs. But once again, perhaps here comes another cream pie. I'm taking Buffalo.
Wow!
For some of the same reasons. If you look at this, the Chiefs, despite their gaudy record, they really haven't played well in 2 months now. They really haven't played well in 2 months. And there were times in that game against Cleveland last week where the Browns were mauling them. They were pushing them around. I don't have any more faith in the Kansas City defense than I do in the Green Bay defense. And I think there are some similarities here in how these teams will approach this. Now, I know that Buffalo struggled offensively against the Ravens a week ago. Okay, that's struggling against the Ravens. Okay, they have a good defense. I don't think anybody would call Kansas City certainly not a great defense and really not a good defense. And there are some areas of that defense that are really soft. Whatever the Bills are, they are not soft. My other concern would be, by the way, I'm a huge Mahomes fan. I love that kid. All indications are, and we're not there, but he's going to clear the concussion protocol. His head will be okay. If I were a big Chiefs fan, I would be more concerned about his foot. Because if he doesn't have as much mobility as he normally does, it does a couple of things. It really cuts down their offense. But it's not just the mobility. That foot, your left foot, is going to affect your accuracy and your arm strength. And let me just say this. I have all the respect in the world for what Chad Henne did last week. I mean, he's now legendary along with Clint Longley, etc. Let's just get this straight. Chad Henne ain't beating the Buffalo Bills. I am so proud. I don't know. I kind of connected. I'm so proud of for Josh Allen. All that kid has done for the last 2 years is hear about how much he stinks and what a bust he is. And he is now no longer than the third best quarterback in the National Football League. I'm taking the Bills.
Wow. I did not see this coming. Paul Alexander taking both road underdogs in the conference championship games. We have written those down, Paul. And again, for our listeners, that is coming from a man who has been watching and analyzing the game of football since the 1960s. I have always relied on the football opinions and understanding of Paul Alexander over the years. Man, Paul, both of these games are now more exciting to me just because of the analysis you just gave us and the picks you just made. Paul Alexander, if you're on Facebook, he's a great guy to follow. You'll see a lot of not only sports takes, but takes on life and culture in America. And I highly recommend him. If you're having a hard time finding him on Facebook, hit me up and I'll send you a link. Paul, we will do this next week. Outstanding as always. Enjoy the grilling, enjoy the barbecue, and enjoy your football on Sunday, Paul. Thank you so much.
Chris and Shannon, thank you very much. And it's late Sunday night. If I'm wiping the cream pie off my face, I'll still say this. At least I had tangible reasons for being wrong and making a wrong pick, as opposed to just playing pin the tail on the donkey, because I see that a lot.
Great stuff, Paul. Love it. Paul Alexander, Coach A, thank you so much. Quick break. More coming up a little bit later in the show. Shannon, Jeremy, and I will make our picks on the big conference championship game coming up on Sunday. We're with you till 9. Coming up at 8:35, James Allen of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Might have to ask him about Phillip Rivers, among other things. His picks. We'll get his picks for Sunday as well. You can join us on the phone lines, 800-707-9760, and the poll question at Ticket 760 at AM 1300 The Zone. Who's going to the Super Bowl? You tell us. We want to hear your picks as well. You're listening to the Chris Duel Show. I don't even know how you put that up there. That was cool. So that would be a day in the life, I take it. Very nice. My internet is really free today. I've been having all kinds of technical problems all week long. I don't know why. Carl Fisher says that was funny. Tracy Bogert, good morning. So Carl, you gotta like Paul Alexander's picks. If you are a Bucks fan, and you are, let's haven't got that we should. Just got a text from Steve Foster, who is listening in Austin. Steve's done a lot of sports talk radio over the
He says Paul is correct on the Bucks. Hector Gomez. Wow, Hector, I did not see that specifically. I didn't know what the specific number was. Hector Gomez says, latest news flash, the Super Bowl will host only 22,000 fans. That is crazy. Yeah, Clint Proctor, the Bernie Sanders photo on a T-shirt off the lawn would be outstanding. If only we knew somebody with a company who could make that happen. I keyed. Clint Proctor has a shirt company. Axel J. Miller wants to know why Shannon doesn't have Whataburger in her TikTok Day in the Life video. Shannon says it's too expensive to eat every day. Yeah, I am an In-N-Out guy, Axel. Hand sanitizer. Just because I'm a freak. I'm a freak. Every time I think of it, especially like in the workplace or when I go out, hand sanitizer. And when I go into an HEB, Sam Tobias, or a drugstore or any box of latex gloves, I even, look at that. Jeremy doing the hand sanitizer. Good man. Look. A hand sanitizer sponsor, damn it. This show is brought to you by what is Soapbox Hand Sanitizer. Tracy says, I've been celebrating the Biden presidency. Is Patrick Mahomes out? Now, he's been a full participant in practice. I've got to lower the volume. Rebel. Little Bowie for you in the morning. Welcome in. It's the Chris Duel show along with Shannon Salty Sweeney. Jeremy Fouts is your food stylist. Shannon did a cool thing I didn't even know we had the technology of doing. She's all about the technology. And I've been having
Shannon, I've been in, I'll tell everybody what you did. I mean, the people on Facebook Live know what you did. If you were on Facebook Live with us, you saw what Shannon did. We'll tell you what it is in a second. I have been in technology hell for like all week. It's like everything. My phone has had issues. Yesterday, Matt Bonner, and I told you that, but everybody else. Matt Bonner of Burr. I was pre-recording an interview with him. He couldn't do it till 9:30. So I'm in the studio, and Matt Bonner's on the phone. Hey, Matt, how you doing? Okay, yeah, we'll do about 7 minutes. So I put on my headphones and I started asking him questions. In my headphones, I can't hear Matt Bonner. I see on the sound wave, and there's his voice. I'm pressing all these buttons like that. I'm so sorry. Let me try something else. For like 10 minutes, I'm trying every comment. It's like, no. Finally, I had to apologize. And he was the nicest guy in the world. Hey, man, we'll reschedule. Whenever you want to do it, just call me. We'll do it. So we will have an interview with Matt Bonner. But I did it today. I'm like trying to access my iHeartRadio email in the studio and on my laptop because I have to pre-record some commercials for next week. Nope. Can't get it. So then, but the mistress of technology, after Salty, the mistress of technology, Shannon Salty Sweeney, during the break. Another reason why you should be joining us on Facebook Live, Shannon, you aired a TikTok, your TikTok of your day in the life. I have no idea how you did that technically.
Yes, we talked about TikTok yesterday, so I went ahead and made a couple. That being one of them, I kind of had those drafts saved up and just kind of pushed them all together to do a little day in life. We're just testing the awesome video service that we're using now that kind of allows us to really play around. So yeah, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, check it out.
We are all over the
behind the scenes when we're during break. We're on the Duel show.
Woo! So speaking of TikTok and social media, there's some of it TikTok, but it's mainly Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Bernie Sanders.
Oh my God!
It's like even San Antonio Mayor Nierenberg. He's been doing these COVID updates where he sits at a panel, with his mask on, and the county judge Nelson Wolf is sitting 6 feet away from him. So even the mayor of San Antonio. I'm a friend and fan of San Antonio Mayor Nierenberg. And even he did a Bernie Sanders mittens Photoshop and had Bernie Sanders sitting at the panel with me and County Judge Nelson Wolf. And you, Shannon, I did one.
I saw it, yeah.
I did one at Strawberry Fields in Central Park, which is the John Lennon Memorial. Shannon, have you done a Bernie, or are you a part of it? Hey, man, that's what everybody does. I'm not doing that.
I just couldn't think of one where I didn't already have a good picture, like ready to go. Like your picture was amazing in that it was already, you in that imagine, and then your caption too. You're not the only one because now you have Bernie sitting right next to you. But I love them. I was scrolling through all of them yesterday. I think for radio people, there was one where he was just sitting under a radio tent saying, "Come to the car wash and get a free koozie." I'll be here. Just sitting behind a radio tent table. It was amazing.
It's so. I mean, you never. Here was going to the inauguration, minding his own business, and kind of sitting there looking a little different and shoveled with his mittens because he's Bernie and he's a different breed of cat. But it is like yesterday you were talking about TikTok and you don't know exactly why. And there it is on TikTok. Shannon showing my Bernie Sanders Imagine Strawberry Fields photo. But it's like TikTok, you did it, Shannon, got 50,000 views. You just never know what's going to become a phenomenon, viral.
Yeah, and it's usually I work really hard on one where, because making videos is as simple as they look, sometimes they take so much time and it take forever. And the ones that I like, that one that got over 50,000 views for the 6 followers that took all of a minute to create, versus I have one that has like 50 views that took me an hour because I have a green screen and I'm trying to make myself look like I fit in it, and I'm trying to do the little hop around that was trending. It just didn't pan out. But You never know, which is why you see if you are on Twitter, people or TikTok, people post so many times a day because one of them will hit.
Yeah, that's amazing. Jeremy, any thoughts on the Bernie Sanders, Bernie's Mittens Photoshop phenomenon that's about 38 hours old now?
I have seen this man sit on the throne of kings. I've seen him all over the world on the porcelain throne. I love that he is so applicable to anywhere you want to put him.
And somebody sent me a link. Somebody created a website that you put in any coordinates or location, and it's tied to Google Maps. So in other words, if you put your home address, then all of a sudden a photo of that location comes up with Bernie Sanders sitting there. So, I just randomly put in downtown San Antonio. There was Bernie Sanders in downtown San Antonio. And then apparently the guy who created that site is keeping track of and keeping archives of everywhere on the planet that Bernie Sanders shows up.
That must be the same guy who made a map of all the working McDonald's shake machines. Because that's too good.
That must be, my God, how many of those locations must there be?
Finally, we have one that, because so many times I've been to the drive-through there. Can I get a chocolate milkshake? Oh, no, you can't. Okay, well, then I'm leaving. You might as well be like Whataburger and tell me you're closed because that's all I came for.
You have one job. Get your shake machine working. So, all right, back to sports for just a moment. I did notice Dwayne Haskins, the former quarterback of the Washington football team, has been signed by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Don't forget, Dwayne Haskins was a first-round draft pick in 2019. A lot of people thought he would be the future of the Washington football team. That never panned out. His rookie year, one of the most memorable things he did late in the game, we wanted him to go back in the game and couldn't find him on the sideline because he was down in the end zone taking a selfie with fans during the game. And then last year, not only poor performance on the football field, but direct violation of COVID protocols, being seen on the internet. I think it might have been like his sister's birthday party indoors with a ton of people and nobody wearing masks. What strikes me about this, Shannon, I'm trying to think and I can't think of any. And I say this all the time because I believe it's true. The position of quarterback in the National Football League is very rare, and I think beyond more than any other position in any sport. You more demanding because you're not only the leader of that team, you're the face of the franchise. So much is demanded and expected of you, and especially in the NFL. How many elite? There's 32 starting quarterbacks. You would think of all the quarterbacks who play college football every year, graduating seniors, hundreds of them. You would think we'd have more elite NFL quarterbacks rising to the top, but no. I've been in arguments with people over is Tony Romo elite? Is Dak Prescott elite? Some say yes, some say no, but certainly top 7 are elite, maybe top 10. As I think about Dwayne Haskins, Shannon, I'm trying to think, has there ever been an NFL quarterback who early in his career was kind of a bonehead, kind of didn't get it, didn't realize his potential, didn't appreciate his potential. And people, when I say that, people who come to mind are like Johnny Manziel, Ryan Leaf, Jamarcus Russell was another huge bust for the Oakland Raiders. I think Jamarcus Russell was like a number 1 overall draft pick, but I don't think I can recall any NFL. There are guys like Kurt Warner who came out of the Arena League playing for the Iowa Barnstormers, who never got his opportunity but worked his butt off. He understood what he needed to do, found a way to fight his way into the league, and then became a Super Bowl champion and a Hall of Famer now, Kurt Warner. But for guys who have huge rep and this huge expectation coming in, Johnny Manziel, Ryan Leaf, Jamarcus Russell, and now I believe Dwayne Haskins, none of those guys ever turn it around and rise to a level where we feel, you're as good as we thought you'd be. Can you think of anybody?
No, and I kind of think of Jameis Winston in that category too. And for every one of those players, we get a guy like Patrick Mahomes, who was kind of seen more as average in his days in college. You know, they chalked up his numbers really to the fact that he was in the Big 12 and they just don't play defense. Well, now you're seeing him in the NFL doing the exact same thing, and now being able to read defenses even better. So he's progressing and becoming now an elite quarterback and one of the top quarterbacks in the league. I think when you think about guys like Jameis and guys like Dwayne Haskins, they were held in such high regard in their college days. They also weren't held responsible for anything they did off the field. And so it was really just about them and not so much about the team. And then that's just the difference between college and the NFL. The NFL really is a business. As much as people want to say that the college football, is a business, of course it is, turns out so much money. But for those kids, they're just there to play. Yeah. Now they're in the NFL and there's all these external factors that go into it. And some of them just aren't mature enough or ready to take on that responsibility. He's clearly one of those people. And now I love the conversation of, okay, you're a Steelers fan. Do you want Mason Rudolph backing up Ben? Should he come back, or do you want Dwayne Haskins to be your guy?
And again, I would say, Mason Rudolph has adequately, occasionally backed up Ben Roethlisberger, and I think Dwayne Haskins just is in that category of a guy who has demonstrated he's not ready for prime time. He's not ready to become everything that is demanded of an NFL quarterback. And it makes you wonder, with all these quarterbacks coming out in the 2021 draft, led by Trevor Lawrence, Sunshine, I mean, we automatically assume, he's a slam dunk. They thought that about Ryan Leaf. I remember headed into that draft, the big question was, if you got number one, do you take Peyton Manning or do you take Ryan Leaf? Peyton Manning out of Tennessee, Ryan Leaf out of Washington State, and people were saying they're equal, they're both great, they're both can't miss, But and as we found, my God, it couldn't be more night and day than Hall of Famer, multiple Super Bowl champion with two different teams, Peyton Manning with his total screw up and bust, Ryan Leaf. It's going to be very, very interesting. This next crop of quarterbacks. You got the quarterback at BYU. Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert's another guy. Now with the Chargers, who people thought he'd be all right. He might have some upside, and a lot of people say maybe the next thing. So it's such a strange market. Highly touted quarterbacks coming out of college into the NFL, because you just never know for sure. A lot of people think Trevor Lawrence, Sunshine is a sure thing. But I don't think there's any such thing as an absolutely sure thing until you see this guy as a quarterback in the NFL.
Right, even Cowboys fans with Dak Prescott, him coming out of Mississippi State. Someone on our feed just posted Matt Leinart. Obviously, him and Vince coming out at the same time. Both of them were expected to be dominant in the NFL, and both of them fell out in their own kind of ways, but there's no guarantee. And I think that's so much, we look too much almost on their playing ability on the field, when again, you got to be mature enough to handle the role. You got to be a person who can develop as a player and be coachable, because so many guys go into a different system when they go in the NFL, and that's ultimately what kills them, right? Vince was in a system with Jeff Fisher, who he just wouldn't let him run. And that was what he did in college. And at the time, that's just, you don't want your franchise player running around on the field like that. And I think he was trying to protect Vince, but it just wasn't working for the team, and ultimately was the downfall of his NFL career. So Dwayne Haskins, I don't know that he was a victim of that necessarily. I think he's more a victim of his circumstances of coming out of a school that maybe gave him too much power and got into his head a little bit that he could do no wrong and could do kind of anything he wanted to because, hey, I'm the quarterback.
Yeah, you bring up a great point with the duo of Matt Leinart and Vince Young, the two quarterbacks in that storied national championship game. So many people thought, well, both of them are going to have great NFL careers, and certainly at least one of them will. It's like, one of these guys is in, and again, part of the Vince Young story, Jeff Fisher didn't really want him. And did not allow him to play to his strength. And still, a lot of people forget. Go look up Vince Young's winning percentage. Vince Young actually won a lot of football games as a Tennessee Titan. All right. 8 o'clock, we're coming up.
We will, in the 8 o'clock hour, Jeremy, Shannon, and I will make our storied NFL picks. Will they be as wild and improbable as Paul Alexander picking both road underdogs in the conference championship games? We will get into that. We'll talk a little Spurs, Mavs. We might have to make some kind of a bet. I don't know. You're a Mavs person. I'm a Spurs person. I don't know. I don't even know.
We can. I'd have to approve of that, though.
Maybe something on social media.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe involving Bernie Sanders or Pop or Mark Cuban. I have no idea. Quick breaks, sports packages, sports updates, and more. Don't go anywhere. We're with you till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Woo! Get another hit of coffee. I'll be back in about 20 seconds. Woo! 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 Where's my mask? Everybody. Final hour.
Leo Zambrano says, love the break music. Reminds him of TJ Hooker. Yeah, we'll see if you still love the break music, if we still have it in August. Leo. Yeah, Leo says, I was taking the Moderna vaccine yesterday. I feel horrible today, although feel very blessed. Very strange. Wow, that is interesting. Keep us posted, Leo, on your progress. Let us know on Monday if you're feeling back to normal. I hope so. Miller. Woo! Happy birthday to your mother, Charlotte. 80. That's a big milestone. Happy birthday to Charlotte. Fonzie J. Rodriguez, good morning. Dipping the Lakers. Lakers with a big win last night, I think, over Milwaukee. Do you have access to NFL Films music? Are you good on? Probably because we have a guest at 8:35. We'll probably do NFL picks here in this segment. Cool. Thank you, sir. Something about the Longhorns when the show started. Other than their basketball games being postponed because of their opponents, I'm trying to think. Yeah, Wes brings up Carson Wentz. There's another guy who had big expectations and is not seeming to live up to them. Good morning, Beth Settle. Yeah, you wonder, so many people talking about getting the vaccine. So many people are resistant to the vaccine already. More and more people hearing that you do have a little minor short-term reaction to it, as Leo described here. You just wonder if that's. As soon as I can get it, I'm going to get it. I trust science. I trust experts. I trust Dr. Anthony Fauci, and so I just think that's the way to do it. So Louisa got her vaccine yesterday. Blessed to have gotten my vaccine yesterday at noon. So far, so good. Hopefully, and I don't know, it'll be interesting to see if the majority of people who get it do not have. Anyway, Leo, I hope you feel better soon. More technology issues.
Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side.
Now, let's do it. The weekend is here. Not just any weekend, but a football weekend. AFC championship game, NFC championship game. They'll actually go in the opposite order of that on Sunday. NFC championship game, 2:05. Green Bay Packers hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the later game, the afternoon game, afternoon-ish, on the cusp of afternoon and evening, a 5:40 kickoff at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. Chiefs hosting the Buffalo Bills. Shannon Salty Sweeney. We've got Jeremy Fauci, your soundscape stylist. We'll probably with James Allen of the Pro Football Hall of Fame joining us at 8:35. We'll probably make our NFL picks in this segment. And Shannon, earlier, Paul Alexander, and I was surprised he picked both underdogs. He picked Tampa Bay over Green Bay. He picked Buffalo over Kansas City. He gave us his reasoning for both. He makes a good point about Patrick Mahomes. And, we've heard for each of the last 2 days at least, Patrick Mahomes apparently has been a full participant in practice for the Chiefs. But Paul's point is, and I think it's a very valid point, turf toe can, especially for a mobile quarterback who moves around a lot, who throws on the run quite a bit, like Patrick Mahomes, the toe issue that was an issue for Patrick Mahomes last week in the divisional round. That may be the biggest concern for him and for Chiefs fans.
Yeah, was it Julio Jones, kind of the last big name player to really suffer from turf toe? I think I had him on my fantasy team that season, and he was week to week, and then he would go and then he'd get pulled out. I mean, it really is something for guys. We don't think about the feet a whole lot, especially when it's something like turf toe and he's got a broken ankle. But definitely something to be on the lookout for. Of course, he does most of his work with his arm, but every now and then, just like Haney last week, they needed him to run. So something to look out for. I think he'll be fine. I think at this point we can be sure that he's going to play. It'd be interesting to know how Kansas fans feel if he's not 100%. Would you even consider throwing Haney in there just to start, just to see how it goes, or are you not even going to risk that? Are you going to possibly risk that turf toe getting worse for Patrick Mahomes and then have him being even less effective and ready to go for the Super Bowl? I just don't know.
See, I think it's like, we talked about this, we found out after the fact from Drew Brees' wife that he had a torn rotator cuff last week in that game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Shannon, I asked you, should the New Orleans Saints have considered Sean Payton, the head coach, should he have considered, maybe going to Jameis Winston more? We saw that trick play where Jameis Winston threw the 50-something yard touchdown pass. But, as you said, I think it's the same thing for Patrick Mahomes. If you got a Drew Brees, even if he's banged up, just given his football IQ and what he's able to do on the football field, versus, in that case, Jameis Winston, or in Mahomes' case, Chad Henne, I think you probably you go to the dance with the girl who brought you, and that's Patrick Mahomes. I got a feeling that would be the answer.
And I'm really hoping these are both close games this weekend, because I think I'd be most disappointed whether my team win or lose if these aren't just great games to watch from start to finish. But if the Chiefs do pull away, I would be surprised if they put Henne in there just to give Patrick some time off that toe and more time for whatever the head issue is for him. And then, you mentioned Drew Brees. I'd love to ask James, we'll have on next segment, if he thinks that Drew is really done. Of course, the injury kind of makes you feel like, he probably needs to take a sit. But guys like this, you just never know. They're so competitive. It's all he knows. He might be ready for one last ride, just like he was last season.
Yeah, and I mean, and you look at like a Brett Favre. And Brett Favre drove people crazy. I think with the Packers, he announced his retirement.
He cried during that?
Yes. And then he went home. I think he lives in Kill, Mississippi. And after a few weeks thought about it, I think I'm feeling okay. I think I want to, especially if you're that good and you've done it your whole life, and you know that if you walk away, you are walking away. It's over. The door will shut. It's move on to your next thing. And I mean, look at Jason Witten. Now, granted, part of his equation was he wasn't so good in the broadcasting booth, but I think it's the same dynamic. Obviously, for Drew Brees, he's a quarterback, and that's a different breed of cat than a tight end. But we all pretty much expect Jason Witten to be a Hall of Famer. But again, you're doing something you've done since you were a kid, in at least middle school, high school, college, and as a professional adult. You've done it, and you do it better than 99.9% of the population. That's got to be a hard thing to walk away from, and there's got to be fear. You would think these guys are invincible and there's no fear, but if you look at the rest of your life, granted, they make a lot of money and they're going to be secure financially for the rest of their lives, but there's always fear of the unknown. Like, what's next for me, and how can I get this up? And we hear this, Shannon, again and again and again. When they leave professional sports, you always hear athletes say, the biggest thing I miss is the locker room. I miss the camaraderie. I miss my friends. You hear that about people who leave the military. People who've been in the military for 5 years or for 20 years. They say, I miss my fellow troops. I miss the men and women I went either to work with or into battle with. There's a huge bond that goes on when there's a big endeavor and you're fighting with a group of people for a goal, whether that's a sports goal or a military goal.
Right. You think about, Drew Brees already signed on with NBC, so he can stay within that realm. I think the same thing kind of with, I know we gave him a hard time, but Colts just retired. Philip Rivers, everyone kind of bashed him for taking that high school job, but then saying, I'm the coach in waiting, I'm going to go play another season, because some people thought he was just going to retire once he left the Chargers, right? Be the guy that was on the one team and then walk away from it. But he just wasn't ready to actually walk away from that locker room. And now he's in a spot where he's still involved in the game and involved in the team-like atmosphere. Of course, it's with younger kids, and he's probably really great with kids, as we know he has so many. But not all these guys that play in the NFL have these jobs secured for them after they come out of the league, and specifically jobs where they get to stay within that environment that they've grown so accustomed to.
Well, and I've been thinking about this as well, and as you mentioned, Shannon, Drew Brees already has a deal with NBC. He's going to be a broadcaster, and I believe now we can all agree the gold standard for former shock television football analysts is Tony Romo. Tony Romo is just so entertaining.
Finally made it to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, right. But I mean, think about this. I think of Drew Brees in interviews versus Tony Romo in interviews. And Tony Romo, we now know as a broadcaster. Drew Brees, he's probably not going to live up to Tony Romo. He's probably not going to be Jason Witten. But everybody's competitive. Everybody wants to be the best at what they do. And there's got to be even a little bit, as successful as we probably expect Drew Brees to be in the broadcast booth. I bet you there's a little bit of anxiety for Drew Brees about that next big thing, that next leap that he's going to take professionally this time as a broadcaster. I mean, you never know. I mean, and now I look at Phil Simms. Phil Simms is all right. He's fine. For the longest time, he was on the #1 team for football assignments with Jim Nantz on CBS. You look at Phil Simms now sitting on the panel for CBS on pregame, and you compare him to Romo, and there's really no comparison. It's like Phil Simms, yeah, you're adequate. I guess I'll say you're good, but you're not great. And I don't think anybody had greatness in the NFL. I don't think anybody's saying Drew Brees, you're good, but you're not great. You're not Tony Romo. So it's going to be interesting to watch that play out for him.
Yeah, Tony Romo is just a different breed when it comes to broadcasting. It almost kind of Cowboys fan makes me mad when I'm sitting there listening to him pre-call plays and know what's going on and call them perfectly. Like, why couldn't you execute that kind of thing on the field? Is that broadcast be really that different? But Drew Brees, he kind of seems like a shy guy to me. I know we've seen him. Someone just mentioned he's been on Undercover Boss. I know he's friends with Ellen DeGeneres, so he's been on her show and he's done this and that. But it's so different, and we know this is jumping on when going back to our first times in radio, like putting on a headset and being in front of a microphone. It's so different, and it takes some getting used to, and to keep the conversation going. And it's not like he's doing that, he calls that out and then he's done, and those plays are usually called for him. So, and it's a lot of studying. I don't know how good he was in school. I know he went to Westlake, so I know he's prepared, but I don't know. It's been a while. It's a lot of study to be a broadcaster. They mentioned the Nickelodeon broadcast. One of the girls who was doing that broadcast received Tony Romo's study book instead of the Nickelodeon one. So it was like 85 pages thick of just material for that one game.
Wow.
And so I just don't know. Study. I wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah. And expectations will be very high. And part of those expectations, Tony Romo has certainly raised the bar. All right. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, about 8:35, we're going to be joined by our good friend James Allen of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's got just great football takes. And of course, he brings insight into just the greatness of the game from a Hall of Fame perspective. This is a guy who hangs out with, Roger Staubach and all of the Joe Montana and all the old-time greats at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But so let's do this, Shannon and Jeremy, so that I don't want to run out of time and I don't want to rush James Allen. His picks for the football game coming up this weekend if he wants to deliver them. I know he's, as one of the guys on the board of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, he never wants to seem playing favorites to anybody. But he delivers his opinion. I think he'll pick the game for us. But if he chooses not to, that's okay as well. But I think it's time. Jeremy, do you have some football picking music for us? Yes. Whenever Ed Sabol and his son Steve Sabol and John Facenda was whatever in the 60s, Shannon, they decided to come up with this music. Because there used to be sports highlights pre-1960s for basketball, especially for baseball. It was the American pastime. But they decided to get an orchestra and come up with music like this that was so distinctive. And 40 years later, 50, 60 years later, this music is still iconic.
Right. Because everything now is bass drop and 808s.
Yeah.
Starts to sound the same.
It just sounds so classic and iconic to me. Anyway, we should probably do a whole show with this music. I like it, maybe not everybody else. All right, let's see. Let's do the first game that we will all experience on Sunday. That will be at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I guess we'll let Jeremy go first. Jeremy's kind of the wild card, but, and I've said this, on the Blue Collar Sports Dad show on Ticket 760, Jeremy was the first guy to pick a New York Jets victory, and he was right. And he picked them the next week, and he was right. People laughed at him. Last week, Jeremy went up against Shannon and me, and the three of us tied at 3-1. So you should probably pay attention to Jeremy's picks. Jeremy, the first game, the 13-3, the team with the best record in the NFC. The Green Bay Packers host the 11-5 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Aaron Rodgers, quarterback of the Packers. Tom Brady, quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Do you like the Packers or the Buccaneers?
So this week I'm picking based off who could fix the echo on our computers here. And I understand some of those might be impossible, but take this as the monkey with a typewriter situation, where if you give a monkey an infinite amount of time, he will eventually type out a William Shakespeare play. That's the scenario here. So it is a Buccaneer versus a Packer. I don't remember what we decided the Packer was last week. I think
kind of pack things,
yeah,
right? Like meat Packers
that's
and
it, yeah.
cheese Packers.
So just for living in the modern era, I'll have to give it for the Packers.
Wow. Green Bay. All right, Shannon. Paul Alexander picked Tampa Bay. Jeremy picks Green Bay. I know you don't like Tom Brady, but you don't like Aaron Rodgers
I'm
either.
not a big Aaron Rodgers girl either. I am going to take the Packers and Aaron Rodgers here, though. They are the favorite going into this. And I just don't want to see Tampa play a Super Bowl in their own stadium. It's never happened. We've had 2 Super Bowls with the 49ers and the Rams back in the day where they played in their own region, not in their own stadium. Tampa, Tommy, his first year, getting to the Super Bowl and then playing it in his own house, that should be illegal. Legally, the Packers have to win this game. I'm going with the Packers.
Shannon's got the Packers. Packers are 3.5 point favorites on Sunday. I think you know where I'm going, Shannon. And I feel so weird. I, for the longest time, I was just sick of Tom Brady, sick of the New England Patriots, sick of winning the Super Bowls. But when he turned 40 and became officially an old guy, at least for football, and B, when he said, I'm out of here, to the New England Patriots, to Bill Belichick, to Robert Kraft, he made a bold move to try to do something somewhere else on his own terms. So I am pulling for Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't feel real confident. You know, Paul talked about the fact that Tampa Bay really blew out Green Bay earlier in the year down in the regular season. I think that's going to provide motivation and an intangible for Green Bay to make sure that doesn't happen again. But I think Tom Brady's going to find a way, probably a shootout at the end. I hope it is. I'm going Tampa Bay. We got 2 of us picking Tampa Bay, 2 of us picking Green Bay. We'll see how that goes. A lot of people on Facebook Live making their picks. And by the way, we're soliciting your picks on our poll question at Ticket 760 and at AM 1300 The Zone. We'll update that for you before 9 o'clock to see what everybody thinks. Moving on to the afternoon game, 5:40 kickoff. They're both in the afternoon right now, but later in the afternoon. Arrowhead Stadium, the 14-2 Kansas City Chiefs against the 13-3 Buffalo Bills. Jeremy, Chiefs are defending Super Bowl champions. It's their stadium. Patrick Mahomes, most of us agree he's the most talented quarterback in the NFL right now, against a team that has never won the Super Bowl, the Buffalo Bills. How do you feel about this one?
Just by virtue of being human beings with opposable thumbs and sentience, I'll have to give it to the Kansas City Chiefs as opposed to the Buffalo Bills.
Well, so you go with a Native American chief over an animal, a buffalo.
I think they would be able to fix the echo sooner.
And you kind of think of the history of Native Americans with the buffalo over the years across the fruited plain. And the Chiefs certainly did tame the buffalo over the years.
This is so ridiculous. I love it.
Watch it come true.
You got to go with history on that one. So, all right, Shannon, Chiefs versus Bills. How do you see the game?
Gotta go Bills Mafia. Gotta go for my man Mitch Morris. This game opened at -1 as a favorite for the Chiefs. And a lot of that because Patrick Mahomes, the unknown of his concussion protocol goings, and it's since moved up to 3. We could see it push as high as 4 once he is officially named the starting quarterback for Kansas this weekend. But I've got all the faith in the world in the Buffalo Bills. Go Bills Mafia.
Now, I have to ask you, Mitch Morris, the center for the Buffalo Bills, you grew up with him, you threw the football with him growing up in front of your yard. How much of this pick, if you say go Bills Mafia, how much of this pick is with your heart, because you're attached to him and the Bills, versus your head? I mean, does the football analyst in you truly believe that Buffalo is going to come in there and beat the Chiefs, or is this more of a heart than a head pick?
I'd say it's like 60% heart, 40% head, because it is the Kansas City Chiefs. But to be the champ, you got to beat the champ. I feel like the Bills are in a great position. They've been improving game by game. They're a well-rounded team, the most well-rounded we've seen them in a long time. If anybody's going to take down the Chiefs, it's going to be the Bills.
Should be a fun one. All right. I admit my pick of Tampa Bay over Green Bay was heart. I've bought into the whole Tom Brady thing this year. So I am going to go head on Kansas City and Buffalo. I just think, as Shannon just said, to be the champion, you've got to beat the champion. But as in boxing, until you can beat that champion, we can't really have that discussion until you prove it. And I just think Kansas City in their house, Patrick Mahomes, I know he's coming off concussion protocol. I know he's got the toe injury, but he is a magic man. There's something very, very special about Patrick Mahomes. And the great ones, even when adversity strikes, they find a way. And I believe Patrick Mahomes especially is going to find a way. So I'm going to pick the Kansas City Chiefs. Shannon has Green Bay and Buffalo. Jeremy has Green Bay and Kansas City. I have Tampa Bay and Kansas City. Earlier, Paul Alexander had both underdogs, Tampa Bay and Buffalo. Coming up, we will get a perspective from the Pro Football Hall of Fame, a man who is on the board of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Texan and a good friend of ours, James Allen. His thoughts on the current state of the playoffs in football. We'll talk with James coming up. We're with you till 9, and we'll see what your poll results are on who's going to the Super Bowl. With you till 9, it's the Chris Duel Show. Woo! Yeah, Jeremy Yolanda was 3-1. Yeah, John, I see your Echo post. I mean, my laptop is off in this studio, and my soundboard, when I speak, shut the speakers off. The only sound on my end is in my headphones. So I'm wherever this echo is coming from, I'm fairly convinced it's not coming from this studio. It's somewhere in the system. We do have our crack engineers on crack working on it. They've installed a camera. It's not hooked up yet. In my studio, that's supposed to run into the system, and ultimately, our audio, we had something like that several months ago. It's going to run through the soundboard and hopefully solve these problems. So again, for everybody listening on Facebook Live, hopefully this problem is solved next week. We do apologize. I know it's maddening. I would suggest, if you've got multiple devices and you like the video and you like the interaction,
to lower the volume and listen maybe on the iHeartRadio app, either on your phone. You go to the iHeartRadio app and search the Chris Duel Show, or you go on your smart device, Amazon Echo, Amazon Alexa, or a Google device. And I know I've got the Alexa device. I say, Alexa, play Ticket 760 on iHeartRadio, and it plays it. You can do that for AM 1300 The Zone. You can probably do it for the Chris Duel Show, but I just know from experience when I locally play Ticket 760, I just say, Alexa, play Ticket 760 on iHeartRadio, and it plays. So while sync might be out a little bit, you'd still get the video. You'd get better audio for now. We'll work on that. And you'd still get the interaction on the text of people talking here and posting. Jeff Lauder, welcome. Leo Zambrano, Luisa. Go, Chef Matt. Shannon, I'll send you this on Twitter. Chef Matt with a salt sponsor idea. Wow, okay. Shannon just pointing out we have every combination so far. And is every combination different? I think, let's see. Jeremy. Yeah, every combination is different. We've got 4 picks. So, wow. If he picks, and I think he will, Shannon, Jeremy, Paul Alexander, and I each have one of the 4 different combinations of outcomes. So what James Allen picks will be the tiebreaker. That's cool. Thanks for pointing that out, Shannon. I probably would have, I'm almost certainly would have missed that. And if we get time at the very end, Shannon, we got to come up with a Mavs Spurs bet. Maybe on social media, maybe Twitter or Instagram or you'll have to pose with Tom. We'll have to pose with the Maverick of your choice, Luka, Mark Cuban, Kristaps Porzingis. I don't know. I'll let you have another idea. Do the Mavs have the Spurs use Go Spurs Go, hashtag Go Spurs Go? Is there a Mavericks catchphrase / hashtag. Wow. Mark just said reports of Mike Stoops coming to Texas are not true. Interesting. Shannon, maybe we'll lead with that before we go to James Allen, once we have him on. Oh, Mavs fan for life. Okay. Yeah, I like that, Shannon. A social media post, and then for you and for me, an apology letter to I have to apologize to the Mavericks fan base. I'm sure I've said negative things over the years. I know I've said negative things about Mark Cuban over the years, although I'm not as down on him as I once was when he used to slam the Riverwalk, calling it a dirty creek. But yeah, so a social media post, a red on-air apology letter to the other
Do you hear weird
noise? Lowering the volume on my laptop.
Terrible sound equals the spinning high tension wires down.
Godzilla.
Don't get enough Godzilla on the show.
Or enough Godzilla references. Welcome in. Jeremy Fouts, State Stylist. In a moment, James Allen, our good friend from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Before we go to James Allen on the Chris Duel Show, Shannon told me on Facebook Live, you had mentioned, we talked about it earlier on the show, there's a rumor out there that Bob Stoops, the longtime head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners, might be coming to Texas as an assistant. You got an update on that?
So that was Mike Stoops, the former DC.
Mike Stoops.
But still a Stoops, nonetheless. The name itself is very strong in the minds of Texas fans. Stark was, of course, asked about this immediately this morning because it was a report that came out late last night. Quickly blew up on the social feeds, and he said it is "quote unquote" not true. So take a breath, Texas fans. Take a breath.
Sorry, my apologies to Bob Stoops. I confused my Stoops.
Yeah, he's busy doing the XFL, right?
Yeah, that was pretty Stoops of me to do that about Stoops. So, all right, let's bring him in. Always great talking football with James Allen. He played the game and was great at Texas A&M as a player. Now just doing all kinds of things as a businessman, as a visionary, and on the board of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. In fact, there are two Texans on the board of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. One is named Jerry Jones. The other is named James Allen. And here's our guest now. James Allen, welcome back. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Shannon.
Now, we're going to ask you in a few minutes who you think is going to win in the AFC and
NFC Championship games on Sunday. It's interesting. We have 4 people on the show, James, who have made picks. Shannon, Jeremy, Paul Alexander was on earlier, and myself. And each of us picked one of the only 4 combinations of these 2 teams. So whatever you pick on Sunday, you're going to break a 4-way tie, and we will therefore know who's going to win on Sunday. No pressure at all, James, when I tell you that.
Well, I appreciate that. And given the closeness of these 2 games, I think that combination situation it merits how close both of these teams are going to be, at least on paper.
And before we get there, James, we love talking Pro Football Hall of Fame with you. You know more about it than most people listening right now. 2 quarterbacks were in the news this week, and one of them officially announcing his retirement. The other one sure seems like he's about to retire. The one who sure seems like it is Drew Brees of the New Orleans Saints, who when he left the field after that loss to Tampa Bay last Sunday, blew kisses to the fans, kind of turned and looked back onto the field, looked like it might be his last game. Then he and his family reportedly spent 2 hours on the field at the Superdome after the game, including some video when Tom Brady walked out and had a conversation and threw a football touchdown pass to one of his sons. So there's Drew Brees. I think everybody agrees Drew Brees is destined for a first ballot Pro Football Hall of Fame induction. But another quarterback retired this week, Philip Rivers, who is number 5 in passing yardage all time and number 5 in touchdown passes all time, but never really delivered the goods. I think 5 and 7 all time in playoff games. Never went deep into the playoffs. And I know, we never know how it might play out, but you've got a lot of experience dealing with guys who wear the gold jacket and with those who vote on them. What do you think are the prospects for a Philip Rivers to someday get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
I think the word someday is pretty strong. Also, he's an 8-time Pro Bowler. Which goes beyond your playoffs and Super Bowl things. And also, he's the second biggest Ironman. Brett Favre has the 200 obnoxious amount of games straight. Philip has played the second most games, and a lot of times he played that with a torn ACL. He had over 200, 40-something, 50 straight starts. I think when you look at that, and like you said, the 5 times passing TDs and yards, you're looking at Aaron Rodgers, Joe Montana, Tom Brady. I'm sorry. You're talking about Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, and then Philip Rivers. When you look at those kind of stats, so you're looking at those 5 guys. Yeah, I mean, right behind that you have Dan Marino and Ben Roethlisberger, and we could go and down at number 10, John Elway.
Wow.
So I think if you look at the stats, and then below John Elway, Aaron Rodgers, and Warren Moon, and Fran Tarkenton, all Hall of Famers, right? So you got Hall of Famers in front of you, Hall of Famers behind you. Anytime Pro Bowler, he's going into the Hall of Fame. Not a first ballot, not going to be a Drew Brees, not going to be an Aaron Rodgers, not going to be this year, as you know, Peyton Manning, but he will be, in my opinion, getting into the Hall of Fame.
Talking Hall of Fame and NFL with James Allen, and James, you talk about stats and not helping Philip eventually get into that Hall of Fame. I've been adding that stat early in his career. Patrick Mahomes will take on the Buffalo Bills because of that championship. And another trip for the Super Bowl. If he goes to the Super Bowl and wins, that's 2 Super Bowls. He's not even 26 yet. Will he already be considered a guy that's going to get into the Hall of Fame, even though he's probably got 15 plus years left to play in this league?
Yeah, the 15 years, you never know, right? Age of concern in the NFL. You saw what happened to him last week, and although there's a lot of their his lives of these quarterbacks, the protocols of concussion, where you can hit them. I talked to Roger Staub about that. It's a complaint nowadays, right? Because back then, they're hitting like on the ground. I do think Shannon is a great point. When you went 2 in a row, some people talk about Eli Manning and future about his stats for the Super Bowl. I really think I don't want to say lock in because you still got to put some more stats on the table. So then if he can do that in a couple more years, then yes, Shannon, I agree with you. Beyond, like you said, the 15 years, let's say he does do that, like another 3 more years at that position, at the level he's playing, then yes, he goes in for sure.
James Allen with us talking football. He's from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I mentioned Drew Brees, James. Gut feeling. I think most of us assume he's not coming back. But I brought up Brett Favre to Shannon earlier in the broadcast. These guys, their whole lives, dating back before middle school, has been football. It's hard to walk away, especially when you're the best in the world at it. And it's easy, I think, to change your mind and go, well, maybe I've still got it. How shocked will you be if Drew Brees decides to come back for one more year with the Saints?
Well, I don't just talk to the players during the season because they're so focused, especially with this COVID protocol. So I don't have any inside information on that, and probably wouldn't say anything if I did. However, I think if you look at it from, like you mentioned earlier, from a 10,000 feet up, he blew kisses. That's not his thing, and he did look back. And he was on the field for several hours. I know that for a fact. And then Brady went out and joined him, which I thought was a class act, with his family and kids. To me, that points to that. Now, Drew, a very strong Christian man, very about his family, very conservative economically. And the thing with Brett Favre is a little different dichotomy. People kind of give him a hard time. They don't know what's happening behind the scenes, and that's another story. I won't get into that long diatribe. You have two different situations. You have one guy, and really Drew, he wants to be a champion. I mean, he's, number one in yards and number one and two, him back and forth between the touchdowns. I mean, what does he have to prove all time? I mentioned the list all ago. He's additional yards. It's Drew Brees, Brady, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, of course, and Phillip, but then Dan Marino. They go all the way down the list. That means a lot to a guy like him. He was considered too small, too this, too that, but having talked to him off vein, he is more about family, his God. I don't think that he will have that much of a miss of the game. But you're right. Those guys miss the huddle, they miss the competition, they miss the camaraderie. Drew, if you know, in the huddle is a very intense vocal guy. He's in there yelling and screaming and everything else, and then the rest of the time seems kind of shy, like Shannon's mentioned that. So my bet, but no inside information on this, is he's out. He's retiring.
Now, guy, I would love to see you retire, and I think a lot of other football fans do, just because he's been so dominant, especially with his time with the great Tom Brady, who in his first season is now playing for the NFC Championship and potentially take the team to the Super Bowl, which, oh, by the way, is in Tampa, his home field. I know he wants to play until he's 45, but is there even a slight possibility that if he does win the Super Bowl in such fashion, that he just says, you know what, this is it, drop the mic and come out?
No, I don't think. I think it's a great point, Shannon. But Tom has been very dogmatic about his health and very dogmatic about his regime and his wanting to play later in life. He's been like that quietly for a long time. No one's paying attention. And Tom Brady doesn't make predictions. He doesn't make hard stances. He's very politically. He's hard to. He's like Staff and Jello. And when a guy like that. Another Super Bowl, you can't believe. And so I won my Super Bowl my last year. He's got a trophy case full of them. I really think he's going to continue on. I really think he's going to put that one more than Drew Brees, although I'm pretty strong about that. Tom Brady's not retiring.
James Allen of the Pro Football Hall of Fame with us. All right, James, I know you remain neutral, and it's certainly your option, but are you up for picking these games on Sunday in the NFC and the AFC championship games?
Yeah, for championships and Super Bowl, I'll come out of the closet, if you will, as far as hiding behind the Hall of Fame. So you want to talk about AFC or AFC?
Let's start with the game we'll see on Sunday. 2:05 kickoff, Packers, Buccaneers. Who do you like?
Well, Chris, you know this, and Shannon knows this. In the end, we have seen statistically that defense wins championships at this level, at the NFC, AFC, and things. And what people don't realize is because there's almost like I don't want. It's not like a regular season game where you can make it up and do everything else. This is it. It's a one and done kind of situation. You're at the very end. You're at the pinnacle. People tighten up. We've seen this. They tighten up their offenses, and it becomes a defensive game. And the last thing I'll say, and I'll answer your question, the NBA is about matchups, right? Who's going to guard who, this and that. If you have the Manu, Tim, and Tony Parker, if you're going to have the 3-3, you have the matchups. NFL a little tougher, but when you're talking about matchups and schemes, then you got to get kind of anorexic, if you will, because you have Tampa on the defense, 6th in blitz for the season, 4th in sacks, 2nd in QB hits, and most people know that Aaron Rodgers can get flustered and get frustrated with the blitz, and we've seen that. And so you have that. But the other matchups you have is you have Devontae. We're going to put Carter Davis on him. Okay, good luck with that. But even if you put Carter on them, who's going to guard Allen Lazell? And Allen had more yards than Dante the last game because everybody focused on Dante. Then you got to go to MVS. Then you got to go to Robert Tonyan, the tight end. Oh, and by the way, you got a running back crew, including Aaron Jones, and Tampa Bay is terrible. Is not good enough. Were they 4.5 yards on that? No, they're not that bad. They're up there. So if it wasn't for Aaron having the huge amount of weapons that he has, I would lean towards Tampa Bay strictly for the defense. However, because you have Devontae, you have matchups with Allen. Who's going to guard Allen? Who's going to guard MVS? Who's going to guard Robert Tonyan? And if you do all that, then they're just going to run the ball to Aaron and their crew. So if you take those factors, normally I would say blitz and start banging up on Aaron. He has shown him get flustered and walk the things where Tom Brady just never get frustrated. So I would give that nod to Tom. The last thing I will say intangible, Tom used to play in the cold. His team is not. So it makes a big difference. Tom Brady, everybody, they're not used to that. And I'm not going to bore you with a lot of facts. But people go out to Lambeau, and it's a different game. You're alive. The hits hurt more. The cold hits more. So I'm going to give the matchups to the Packers.
All right, Packers, and we're up against the break. Sadly, James, I wish we had more time, but I've only got about 20 seconds left. A quick pick on Buffalo, Kansas City.
Strictly because of the Chiefs letting things loose and Andy and all the matchups that you go there, and the play action pass is going to be a frustration for the Bills, Chiefs. And I think one thing economy back in the Packers game was kind of interesting. The head coach of the Packers, Matt LaFleur, was the Falcons QB coach. The Falcons lost the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Pretty good storyline. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs because of the play action pass and the weapons. And the Bills are terrible against the run. They're one of the worst.
Sadly, James, I'm so sorry we're out of time. We love the picks, though. James Allen goes Green Bay and Kansas City. Shannon and I will have a bet online for Spurs and the Mavericks tonight. Thanks to James Allen, Paul Alexander, Jeremy Fouts, and Shannon Salty Sweeney. Enjoy your football weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Thanks so much.
He took us right to the limit there. All right, y'all, have a great weekend. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Jeremy. Tom Brady.